What is up, YouTube? Alex here. Today, I am bringing you a very special deck profile. Something that I have not played in a very long time. This is a deck that doesn't see a lot of play, nor gets enough love, in my opinion. Mainly because before the support that we just got, it didn't do anything. It really did not. The deck was fun, it had a cool concept, but it never did anything. But with the new cards that we recently got in Dark Saviors, it made the deck a lot more playable. And I am really happy to be playing this deck and to be bringing it to you guys. This is a very different take on vampires compared to most of the builds that I've seen online. And I will explain some of my card choices because, like I said, it's very different than most. And if you guys have any questions, as always, post them down below. I will get to you as soon as possible. But without further ado, let's get to the video. To start off, we play 3 Familiar, 3 Retrainer, 2 Scarlet, 1 Ferline, 1 Shadow Vampire, 1 Vampire Duke, 1 Vampire Grace, 1 Vampire Sorcerer. That's it for the Vampire Monsters. For the Zombie engine, I played 3 Yonezombie, 1 Gosugi, 2 Mizuki. That's it for the main deck monsters, and the Ash Blossoms are sort of like monsters in this deck because they are zombie, but they're mainly here to stop your opponent from doing stuff to you. So 3 Ash Blossoms. You can literally play anything else, Veiler, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Bell, whatever you have access to. Ash Blossoms are the better one to play in this deck mainly since it's a zombie. With the spells, I played 2 Desires, 2 Domain, 2 Kingdom, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 for 1, Foolish Burial, Reasoning, Book of Life, 2 Instant Fusion, 2 Twin Twister, 2 Call by the Grave. For the trap cards, 2 Vampire Domination, 1 Vampire's Awakening, and 1 Takeover. I've gone through the cards and I will explain some of the choices and the ratios. So as you all know, a lot of the vampire lists play 3 of each of these guys. These are the main vampire monsters in your deck. They help you start your engine, or I guess help you extend your engine, since what starts the engine most of the time is these guys. But I feel like you have to play 6 of them, mainly because they're vampires, they're zombies, and they can special summon themselves by sending 1 vampire card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, which is really good. They each search a spell or trap and or a monster by paying 500 life points. Once they're special summoned by their own effect, they get removed from play. But that's fine, since you usually just gather some resources, a little more advantage, and then link away for Vampire Sucker, which I'll go over a bit later. But yeah, 3 of them. This guy's level 1, and it's the only reason why we play 1 for 1. Having early access to this guy to start making our huge plays is actually really good. If you happen to draw a 1 for 1 in your opening hand, you can do a lot of cool plays. So that's why these guys are maxed, because you always want to have access to them every single turn. For the rest of vampires, I only played 2 Scarlet because 3 was way too much. And as you can see by the list, I am not playing Allure of Darkness nor Power of Desires. So just having 2 is all I ever needed. And I feel like 1 will not be enough, because sometimes you will be summoning 1 early game and finishing up with a second one later on. 2 is fine. 1 for Aline because she's highly searchable by Familiar mainly. But she's just here to increase the attack of all your zombie monsters when you're going for game. This card is very unique compared to all the vampires. She doesn't really do anything to aid them besides giving the attack, which is definitely not what vampires are known for. They are known for taking your opponent's monster and for gaining life now that we have like one of the new support. It's just a 1 for Aline. No more than that. She's fine at the 1. Same with Vampire Shadow. Some lists play 2 to 3, which I just don't know how they do it. This is definitely the weakest vampire monster, mainly because it's the one that gets hurt by the most hand traps. Special summoning a vampire from the deck is really powerful, yes, but when it doesn't go off, which it most likely will not go off unless everything goes perfectly for you, or you have Call by the Grave, which I'll get to later. Shadow Vampire it's strong, but at the same time fairly weak. That's why I'm only doing the 1. Vampire Duke is one of the better ones, not for his normal summon effects, And these two are the ones that most people don't play, but I'll explain Duke first. When he is normal summon, you can special summon one vampire monster from your graveyard, which is really strong. I mean, getting free advantage from the graveyard is always good. But this other effect is what I played it for the most, which is if it's special summon, you can declare one card type, and your opponent sends that card type from their main deck to the graveyard, which it combos off with one of the other cards in the deck. So one vampire dog, they're hardly searchable, very easy to bring back, so just one of each. Same with Grace. She has a very unique effect that if another vampire level 5 or higher is special summoned from your grave, you can pay 2,000 life points and bring her back, which is again another body's hefty cost, but she definitely does a lot. Once per turn, you can declare a card type, your opponent mills it, and then something else triggers, which I'll go over in a little bit. So these two cards are really clutch. I don't see many people playing them, but they're definitely needed in the deck. And for the last Vampire Sorcerer, this is the one that I've been wanting to cut the most, mainly because he doesn't really do as much. Searching a Vampire spell, trap, or card, it's not that huge or not that important since we're already doing it with these guys. But his graveyard effect is actually kind of nice. Sometimes you don't have a tribute fodder, and he will do that. He will serve as a tribute fodder while he's in the graveyard. Not bad. For now, I'll keep it, but I can see myself cutting this card altogether. So that's it for the vampire monsters. For the main engine is the Unizombie and the Gosuki. Some people might be wondering where the solitaires are. I decided to cut the solitaires from this deck because I don't want to lose to an Ash Blossom. Unizombie getting Ash Blossom, Solitaire getting Ash Blossom completely ends your turn sometimes, but Unizombie getting Ash Blossom is not so bad, because you can still set another card from your hand to the graveyard, which could be any of these guys, or any of the other ones that you want in the graveyard to bring back later. Still pretty good. You still keep board presence and a monster for later on, or resources. So it's not as bad. That's why I decided to cut the solitaires altogether. They're not really needed, since we're not really doing any shenanigans with Spectral Soar or the second effect of solitaire. So just 3 Unizombie, 1 Gosuki, no more than that. This deck rarely ever normal summons, honestly, but when you do, you want to have one of these two or one of the bigger guys that I'll get to later. With just 1 Gosuki, he's really clutch. When he's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon any of your vampires and claim their effects, which is really cool. And also, he's a combo starter to send a Unizombie. Really clutch, really good card. Just the 1 though. Any more than that might be a little bricky, since both its effects are once per turn. And to finalize the monsters, 2 Mizuki. That's all you really need. You're not really looping Mizukis with Omega in this deck, even though I still play Omega. You're not really trying to do that. But Mizuki's just that good. Mizuki's can bring back any of your vampires and you keep doing damage to your opponent. Also, you can bring back an Ash Blossom if you have a level 4 like Sorcerer or Gosuki and make a Black Rose. Really strong. Mizuki, 2 of, 3 is too many. Ash Blossom, not much to say about it. Good card. Again, it could be anything. It could be Effect Veilers, but in this deck, Ash Blossom is best since I'm playing Reasoning. For the spells, 2 Desires and 2 Domain. They're mainly here to help you combo off. Desire is definitely the weakest one out of both, but sometimes, just a few times, mid to late game, Desires is like insane. Monster Reborning anything is really huge, especially when you play against dinosaurs or someone that's playing like cards that put monsters face down. This card is really good because you can still send any monster to the graveyard to revive a vampire. I've been contemplating about cutting it to 1, but as of right now, I'm still playing 2. Maybe later I'll definitely cut it to 1. But as of right now, 2. The better out of the 2 is Domain. Domain is actually insane. It has a very unique effect that it lets you gain life equal to the damage that you deal to your opponent. So, which is really cool because the deck is all about paying life to gain it back later on. Much like Infernity, go as minus possible to go as plus. It's really good. You can pay 500 to additional summon a vampire this turn. Really good. Definitely what the deck needed. And even if the card leaves the field, you still get to normal summon. For the last vampire spell card, I am playing 2 Vampire Kingdom. This card is so cool and is actually really good for the deck. If a card is sent from your opponent's main deck to the graveyard, you get to target 1 card they control, destroy it, and then send a Dark Vampire from your deck to the graveyard. So basically it helps you combo off with these 2, and it helps you set up your graveyard for any Dark Vampire you want after you destroy a card for free. Really good. The second effect is that all the zombie monsters gain 500 attack during damage step only, which is pretty cool. It's actually kind of annoying. I wish I could only play the one, but Vampire Takeover requires you to have no Vampire Kingdom and feel, and one in the deck to resolve. That's why I played two. And if it wasn't for Vampire Takeover, I wouldn't play this card, honestly. But Vampire Takeover is so good, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So two of these. For the one of spells, the broken ones that you just gotta play and everything. Monster Reborn, I'm allowed to play it. 1 for 1, so good. It starts your engine and just helps you go ham. Foolish Burial can be literally any zombie you want in the graveyard to bring back any of your vampires. Really strong. Reasoning is so good. Yes, a lot of the times you're going to call 5 and you're going to happen to mill one of these 3. But then you have 3s, 4s, 2s, 1s, 6. So Reasoning is literally just a free monster on board to make Vampire Sucker. Because this deck abuses Vampire Sucker so well and so much that it's just hard to pass. One Book of Life, another Monster Reborn, special when they Ash Blossom your Unizombie or your key cards. You can take their hand trap and proceed to do your plays. So just the one of. Anymore, it's kind of breaky. 2 Instant Fusions. I have 2 targets in the extra deck. One of them is Thousand Eyes Restrict, and the other one is Theseus. Theseus, besides being a tuner, so you can make Black Rose or Mega or whatever, it's a zombie type, so it helps you turbo out your Vampire Sucker. I really enjoy Instant Fusion in the deck. Also, you can Thousand Eyes something, snatch it, and then you can tribute for a vampire, which is really cool. 2 Twin Twisters. You want a lot of your things in the graveyard, so it's pretty good to like discard anything that you might want. Probably one of these or Mizuki, and then take care of like some Solemns or any like field spells that are like basically interrupting your opponent's setup is always good. Like Tricks of Reincarnation and or like a few rogue matches are playing Solemns. You want to hit those. Not much to talk about. Twin Twister, pretty standard. 2 Called by the Grave. This is not a super combo heavy deck, but you still want to Call by the Graves to stop the Ash Blossoms, the Ghost Over. Your Vampire Sucker getting Ghost Over sucks so bad, so you definitely need this card. Not 3 though. Again, it's not a super combo deck that you're going to need 3. And for the last cards, I'm playing 4 traps. 2 Vampire Domination, which is a searchable negate anything. I don't think you need 3, honestly. You could probably get away with 1, but I feel that 2 is a good number. Any more than that is just not good. Vampire Awakening, it's a Artifact Sanctum. Summon a guy from the deck, that's all. I'm not going to lie to you, I have not resolved this card once at all. Mainly because I don't see it and I never search it. But I just have it in case my hand is really weak and I can like special summon any of these guys to start my engine. So that's why it's the one of. Anymore is just wrong. And the card that just makes everything possible and like broken. Vampire Takeover is so good. Like plus. If you control at least 1 vampire zombie and all monsters you control are zombie, you can special summon 1 zombie from the graveyard or vampire from the graveyard and activate a Vampire Kingdom from your deck, which is so good. Like especially if you have Vampire Sucker, you get to draw a card, and if you special summon Duke, you can pop a card and send one of your little guys, and if you have Grace, you just get another monster. Vampire Takeover is so good, and a lot of the turn 1 boards include Vampire Takeover with Vampire Sucker ready to go, backed up with a Domination and or an Ash Blossom. So good. Any more traps, it's probably wrong, honestly, because the deck wants to draw consistently. And I'm playing 43 cards as is. Yeah, I can remove the Vampire Awakening and maybe both Twin Twisters, but I like everything else. I guess the Vampire Sorcerer is like okay, but still I really enjoy the deck list. I gotta give a huge shout out to my friend Seti. He's been playing zombies forever and he's also played vampires, and he came up with the idea of the Vampire Kingdom and the Takeover. Everything else we both work on the list. Really enjoy it. Shout out to you guys, Seti. Well, that's it for the main deck. I will go over the extra deck real quick. 1 Thousand Eyes. Again, you take a monster and tribute it. No Vampire, no Link Karibo because we don't need it. Theses are already explained. It's a level 5 tuner to make Black Rose, or it's a level 5 to make an Xyz. And it's also a zombie. Black Rose to reset the board and bring everything back. Not bad. Shiranui, Shogun Saga. He gets really big. Remember, you're still playing tuners, and you can banish a vampire, so he becomes like 5,000 a lot of the times. Really good. Omega. If your hand's low, you can play Omega Control and put all your resources back. Still pretty good. Vampire Sucker is the all-star in the extra deck. This card is so good. Plus, every time your vampire is summoned from the graveyard, you can use your opponent's zombies to tribute for your vampire. So good. Like, oh my goodness, this card is amazing. One Underclock to make your link plays a little better, and sometimes you need to make your opponent's monsters smaller to run over your vampires. And remember that the new vampires have an effect that when you destroy a monster by battle, you can take them, which is really good. One Nightmare Phoenix. I'm sorry. I want to play Cerberus and Unicorn, but I haven't had the time to find space in the extra deck, honestly. You can make Decode a Unicorn, but I still like Decode Talker a lot. One Summon Sorceress, because you can do a lot of plays. A lot of times you can summon Sorceress and Mizuki, then link away with something else, and then use the Mizuki's effect in graveyard. So strong. Such an amazing card. I really love this card so much. So good. One Vampire Bram, really good guy. I'm assuming you know what he does, so I will not be explaining his effects. But just the one. Sometimes I miss the second one, but there's no space in the extra deck, honestly. Two of the new Vampire Xyz Shardin. This dude is so good. Honestly, there's so many ideas for this deck that I've been wanting to try. One of them is playing Mind Control to take your opponent's monster so you can use this for this guy. Because if you control an opponent's monster, you can treat them as level 6, and you can Xyz right away for this guy. You can detach an Xyz, blow up a card, or send it to the graveyard. If it's a monster, you can detach and take it. So good, so you can keep exceeding. This card's amazing. And for the last card, it can be anything. It can be any Nightmare monster. It can be another Xyz. But this spot is for Borreload Dragon, which is in my other deck. So play one Borreload because it helps you out a lot of the boards that you need to be outing. So that's it for the main deck, extra deck. I won't be showing the side deck because that's up to you, whatever you're playing against, you should be doing. But again, as always, let me know what you think of the video. Comment down below any questions, any ideas. Let me know how your vampire deck runs. I would love to see that. If you guys want to see this in action, also let me know and I will try to make that possible. Expect more videos from me. Go on my channel and look for more deck profiles. As always, thank you for watching. God fucking speed to you guys.